We are back at it. And here's a project that actually was a pretty challenging project. But I think at the end of the day, it turned out to be one of the best pieces I've ever produced. One of the best pieces I think I've ever finished up. I'm happy on this on a bunch of different levels. One of the more difficult things that's gonna happen here is me trying to, kind of review this or show you guys this dial with no tripod, a piece that's 360 degrees. So I'm gonna try my very best to, to kind of just show you guys this piece and keep the camera as non-shaky as possible and all that good stuff. So okay, so a few months ago, actually in July, I was hit up inquiring about possibly creating a red rocket station from the game Fallout 4. July happened to be it was personally a difficult month for me. There's a lot of things that were happening personally in my life that month. So it was a difficult month. So I took on this let me try to word this the best way I could. I kind of took on this haphazardly. I didn't even give it like that much of a thought. Somebody had hit me up. They had a budget, and I was just like, yeah, I can rock it out, and not even really. Usually, I sit on it for a little bit, and we did go back and forth before I said yes. But it was my mind was all over the place that month. So it was. Sometimes the best creations happen in those type of situations. So let me try to get a bunch of not a bunch, but different angles for you guys so you can see. So it is in fact 300. Let's turn it around. 360 degrees all around, and this is made out of insulation foam board, project foam board, skinny sticks, balsa wood. What else? Action figure packaging for the windows. We have this is those borders that you get. I forgot what they're called. For like your kitchen, what have you. What else did we use here? Yeah, it's pretty much the basis of it. This is a foam sheet. So one of the challenges in creating this was many challenges. First and foremost, he wanted a 1/18 scale, meaning he wanted it to be for G.I. Joe size action figures, pretty much. I mean, my assumption is that the Red Rocket, or excuse me, the Fallout 4 action figures are in that scale. I believe the power suit is 6 inches, I think. I'm not sure. One of the things he also wanted was a power charging station, I think is what it's officially called. Let me try to light this up. I'm trying to get some light here. All right, so, and I will show this power station in a bit. I'll take it out of there. But he wanted a power station as well, and it is something that I had never created, but my cousin has, and my cousin killed it. So I instantly hit up my cousin and was like, yo, I got a job for you if you wanted to take it. So that was actually created by Carmelo Calderon, who is my cousin Lito, as we know him. And hit him up, and he was willing to do it, and he rocked it out for me. So I'm very happy with how that came out. Not that I expected anything less. But okay, so let's I'm gonna put this on pause and come back with a ruler and start kind of getting the measurements and getting you guys an idea of how I went about this. It's gonna be a longer video than usual, just because I want to be at the end of the day, I'm a teacher, man. I teach. I teach. I have kids. I have children, and I've always had after-school programs where I've coordinated activities for kids pretty much my whole life. I haven't worked directly in programming for some time, but that's like where my heart is at. So I'm always willing to teach a little bit. So let me just put this on pause, and I'll be right back. All right. So we're looking at a structure that is approximately 22 inches across. It is 16 inches deep. It is to the top of the roof, I guess. It is 11 inches tall. 11 and a half inches tall. Top of the letters is 13 inches tall. And I guess the best way to go about this is just to take it piece by piece, right? So the first thing I created, so some of the challenges that were in front of me was that this structure had a lot of round edges to it. So as you can see there, this is about, it was a challenge to try to kind of in my head create it and then execute it. And so one of the things that these stations usually had is these corners were usually, you guys can do some research, but these corners usually were more of these metal rounded type of things, and it's just very difficult to kind of create that with equipment that I have in hand. So I wasn't going to be able to do that, but I still had to somehow find a way for it to still make sense, still include some of what makes these stations unique in the Fallout 4 world, or the Fallout world. The good thing was that there was brickwork, so there was brickwork, and then there was a lot of falling cement. So it was some stuff that I was similar. One of the things that I needed to figure out is how am I going to magnetize it? How am I going to keep this together with a roof and all that good stuff? So, as a long-time sneaker collector, I decided to do something kind of unique. But before I get to that, let me just show the letters real quick. So the first thing I created, I actually had done these letters and were sitting on them for a good 2 weeks before I started painting. I had started cutting up. So what these letters are pretty much thin foam sheet. And what I did is I printed, I'm trying to just get the best. I printed this logo out. I made it bigger on the computer, and then I basically taped it on top of some, this foam sheet, and traced it, and then just cut it out, pretty much. In this case, there was a little bit of more work because it was like the red was inside of this metal, encasing is the best way to put it. So here's like the encasement without the red in it, because it is a rocket station that's, most of them are falling apart. I guess it's a world that Fallout 4, if you guys aren't familiar, I believe it's a world that's kind of people are just trying to figure shit out. Something happened. Anyway, so created these, set them on skinny. Or actually, this was basswood, but like the kind of the square joint. So set that up. Obviously, it's a little bit of an eyesore in the back, but a lot of signage is like that. So this was kind of the first piece that I took on. And I finished this pretty quick. And once I had this in on hand, it's easy enough to kind of go from there and figure out the sizing and so forth. So let's put that to the side a little bit. Now here's the unique roof that I was telling you guys about. Pretty much the way it goes on and off. It's like a sneaker top, like a box top. So the way I created this is just a regular sheet of insulation foam board, and this is just thinned out so that this is just half an inch. So I cut it in half and then glued it, and then this corner here was just sanded down. So once I had these four corners sanded down, it wasn't difficult to wrap the foam sheet around it. The foam sheet is a real loose floppy thing. So I think it's a pretty unique way of creating a top, and it also keeps the structure together. Now let's get up in here real quick and see if I can. And guys, again, I bear with me, as this is a pretty difficult thing to record on my own, so I'm trying my very best to light it up as best as I can and all that good stuff. Okay, so I got the overhead light here. All right, so 2 rooms. As I was doing research for this, I wanted to make sure that I was as accurate as possible, because it was, he did want kind of a replica type of deal. So this paper here is just scrapbook paper. So scrapbook paper, what I like about it is that when you look at it, it does look like it's chipping paint. A few people hit me up like, yo, dude, how did you get that effect? You really can't. You can't. And the reason you can't really, you can, I'm sorry, let me take that back. You can get that effect. It is not an effect that I can work with often, especially with pieces that are being put together, wrapped up, shipped out, and then the person is taking, the wrapping off, and all of it would chip. I mean, unless I would Mod Podge it heavy duty, but then it gives a glossy feel. Anyway, I just, it wasn't feasible at the time, and it's something that I just, you know, discussed with him and did this sheet, and Chris was okay with it. So we went with that. So, but in the pictures that I was watching, the reference pictures that I was looking at, most of these just had paint that was falling apart on the inside. So I just went that route. Wanted to make it 2 rooms. Wanted to make it obviously tall enough for this power station to be there. The way I separated the rooms was also pretty unique. It's just kind of a sliding thing. So these 4 sticks kind of allow it, and this is balsa wood, and it allows it to kind of you can kind of slot it in there, and boom, it just slides right in. So man, I hope this footage doesn't look as bad as I think it's gonna look. But so yeah, so I did, you know, the inside all the way around. Gave it a little bit of a different feel, the different wall here. Same thing, just kind of. And then what I did is that this, for the most part, it looked like it was wood. So the effect that this sheet is latex paint chipping off of wood. So what I did is I painted this in a gray to take the you know, to kind of give it that cement feel versus giving it that wood feel, and I think it came out pretty good. I still was able to leave a little bit of the wood color in the background that lent to the effect. Definitely wanted to make sure I got some signage in there, which is an important part of this game, and was able to get a couple signs up in there. So let's turn around over here. There was an awning there, so I had to make sure that that was in place, and I hadn't taken it off since I put it on. But pretty much it's one of those stabbing situations. As always, a lot of times this ends up being the best technique for any time you're dealing with foam. You can always just stab stuff into it, and it's gonna stay. So you can see the kind of where it goes there. So it's just an easy stabbing situation. Now the way this comes apart is very minimal amount of magnets. I think I have 2 here, 4, 6, 8. So I think I have a total of 8. So all it is broken down into these little walls. The challenge obviously was to make sure that when the wall is up, that it looks almost seamless. So that was one of the challenges. But basically it broke down into that little wall, and then the slide out wall, and then this back wall here. And once you take off, again, I'm sorry, I'm all over the place with this. And this is over here. You have, just so you guys can kind of see what it looks like. I didn't have to do much here because the lid kind of covers it up. And I measured it that way, so as you can see, it's a little sloppy here and there, but again, that's not something that's going to be present. Then the back wall, at the very end, it was kind of cool because at the end, all I had was just this brick wall, right? And so he hit me up and he was like, "Yo, is there any way we can do, you know, something with Nuka Cherry?" And he showed me a picture that was real similar to this. So I was like, "Word!" So I was able to create this, and I think it came out pretty cool. Alright, so the power station, I'm not gonna break it down because it's a pain in the butt. Actually, I shouldn't even say it's a pain in the butt. It's just it's not. It looks more functional than what it is. A lot of it is just stuff like this where you just kind of put it into place, and, you know, it falls back because it is kind of slanted. So it is something where once you kind of put it together, you just kind of let it be. This is just a project foam board on top of installation foam board. You know, again, wanted to give it the feel. Most of these, like these little rubble piles and so forth, this is all from reference pictures. So a lot of it was was reference pics. The window here, was an important part of it because all of the rocket stations have it. And what I just did is action figure packaged and scratched up, but this is that same kind of square balsa or basswood that I use for that, and just kind of It was cool because it was a two-sided window. So usually I just do a one-sided window. But the problem with one-sided windows, or not the problem, the good thing about one-sided windows is that you always get to kind of just see one side of it. So you don't see how the usually the other side of it is all messed up because you're just trying to present this. So when you get to work on that, you don't have to do much. But in this case, again, it's double-sided, and because it's double-sided, I have to be on point on both ends. And I think using this foam sheet right here definitely helped in framing this window. Got a nice doorknob on there. Again, you know, you know what? I have to stab a hole into that little eye keyhole there because it just has to be kind of. It can't be that door. The key has to actually fit in there. All right, so this is it. This was again one of my favorite builds. At the end of the day, I'm really happy with how it came out, and posted a little sneak peek pic, just like a little one angle of it, and got a good response, and so I'm happy with that. It was reposted by one of the Fallout 4 sites on Instagram, which has, you know, a bunch of followers, and that was really cool to be exposed to gamers who may not know about dial building and ACBA and so forth. I'm always trying to push the word one way or another, man. There's always work being done. Alright, so long video, but I'll have a bunch of pictures at the end. Questions, comments, feel free. And, excuse me, if you have questions or if you have comments, leave them in the comment section. I'm not sure if my cousin has a YouTube channel. If he does, I'll link it in the comment section as well, so you can see some of his work. He's an amazing dial artist. I'm pretty good, y'all, but this dude is a beast. He's just not as fast as me. That's the only difference right now, is that he takes his time with it, and I zip right through it. I also have, my situation in life is a little easier to work on these than his maybe. So y'all, and I am Audi 5000. Peace.